Welcome to the Missouri Valley Preview Show with the head coach at the University of Evansville, Robyn Scherr-Wells, who is a great friend of the Valley and a great friend of ours. Robyn, thank you so much for being with us this morning. How's it going?
It's going great. We are about just under or just over a week out from official first practice. I'm so excited. It can't get here fast enough. It's been a really fun preseason.
It's the appropriate word for you, fast, because I know that's your style. That's the way you like to play. Your pace is one of the top 50 in the country last year. How do you build upon that with your personnel?
Yeah, we've got such a young team right now, a lot of newcomers. We have 6 freshmen, 9 underclassmen overall. And we really spent a lot of time this summer just working on what that pace feels like, looks like, our spacing in transition. Because with such a new group, you're kind of starting over as far as teaching that and just really teaching those basics of the spacing. And I thought I thought our players have done a really good job with that, and just, each little workout and just seeing that's coming more and more natural to them.
When people talk about pace, one of the things they talk about is how fast you push the ball up the floor. I want to go back to the beginning, like inbounding the ball if the other team scores on you. Talk about your philosophy there, because I don't think that enough people talk about how important that inbounder is to actually initiating your pace.
Extremely important. And there's a transition drill that we do almost every day in practice that specifically just works on taking the ball, our post players taking the ball out of the net and how they inbound it and timing it with our point guards. And our point guards have to work on that timing and how to cut and get open. We put a defender on them every single time to work on that. And it takes a lot of work and chemistry. And when you've got 5 post players and 3 point guards taking reps, they all have to learn each other. And so it takes time, but we put a really, really big emphasis on doing that almost every single day in practice.
Robyn, when you're breaking down pace and you're evaluating your team, are you trying to do certain things in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock, the next 10? Take us inside how you might break that down.
Yeah, we don't concentrate too much on the time on the clock, but it is that initial pace of just how you talked about, whether it's a make or a miss, even on a make, how we inbound the ball and how we push into that first phase of our transition offense. And I tell our players all the time, if we never call a play, if we can play in transition as much as possible, that's what we want. We talk about it. I call it our drive, kick mode, that we're trying to push into transition. We're trying to create a drive, where we're going to bring some help defense, and then we're looking to kick the ball. And that's that drive, kick concept. And I tell them, if you just play in drive, kick, because you're constantly creating advantages off of creating closeouts, we don't have to call a play. And so that's the very first thing that we work on. We've spent so much time this summer and then in this preseason this fall really working on just that concept alone to try and get them to go out and just be hoopers, right? As long as you can understand our pace and the spacing on the floor, then you can play with a lot of freedom from there.
Yeah, isn't that the way the game is evolving? I know from the NBA to the WNBA, it's not as much play calling as it is concepts. If you can get into these actions, if this action triggers something else, and then you're talking about closeouts. Let's go a little deeper on that, because not every player knows how to attack a closeout or can get that. You say kick, I would say swing, and you get them in rotation. Break that down a little bit more for us in detail, because I think this is some basic stuff that sometimes you're keeping it simple. Some people overcomplicate it. It sounds simple. I know it's not easy to teach or easy to do, but break it down a little.
Yeah, it's something that we try to work on when we do a guards post breakdown every day. We do that, pretty much every time within our position groups of just, putting a coach defender out there. When you start it down at the basics, they know how we're closing out. We tell them, okay, we're closing out, high and tight, your rip is going to go to the baseline side, and then we switch it on the low side, your rip's going middle, okay, and then close out short, you got to be ready to catch and shoot the 3. And we really put an emphasis on catch to shoot every single time, and then you make your decision, right? And then you read from there, and then obviously try to build to where it's not scripted. They've got to read the closeout, right? You get more live. And, I've always played fast as a head coach. But I got to give a lot of credit for my time as an assistant coach at Davidson College. It was something that Gail Folks was really good at, of just the whole concept of attacking closeouts. And, really spent, 3 years in that program, and that really built, kind of helped me, grow my philosophy in that area too. And we spend a lot of time on that.
Okay. So you and I know defense is important, and I know you could talk about defense, but we're not talking about that right here. I mean, because this is just too good, basic offensive stuff. This is stimulating for me because I love talking about this side of the ball. Where you are with your vision in your program, knowing that you took over an incredible rebuild, and this is a rebuild that's not the first time that you've done it. Where are you in your schedule?
Yeah. Well, and it's so interesting because I took the job right coming out of the COVID year, and now think of like how drastically our sport has changed in the last 3 years between not only the transfer portal, which was pretty much hopping at that time anyways, but just the change in landscape in NIL money and all of that. And so rebuilds are never easy. I think they've gotten a lot harder in this current landscape. And so, we had a tough year last year, and that was really disappointing because I didn't expect kind of in the middle of that to, kind of take that step a little bit backwards for me personally. I'm not sure it was so much backwards in the big picture of things, but, now we've got this really young group, and our freshman and sophomore classes are really our first 2 full recruiting classes that we recruited for, over a year with each group, and just, having these players that I really feel like we can build long-term with. They're 4-year players, and, we've got, some nice upperclassmen that now have spent a year with us. And so I'm really excited about this group. And, while we're young and there's always bumps in the road that come with a young team, like I think this team's really, really talented. And so it's been just a fun summer with them, and a chance for us to really, again, back to our basics of really pushing in transition. I think we're going to be able to press well with this group. So I'm excited about, what this year is going to look like for us, and really what the future is going to hold for us.
Yeah. So this league is somewhat top heavy. There's some really good teams at the top, but there's a lot of room in the middle. And so if you can make a jump to that middle part, you can go to the postseason out of this league now. I mean, that has been established. That's how good this league has become, or has always really historically been. When you're thinking about putting your schedule together in the non-conference and building confidence around your young team, scheduling becomes such a critical part to building that confidence, right? Give us a little bit about your philosophy there, and how you put it together this year.
Yeah, just like you said, right? You want to put games on that are going to be, competitive, but a chance to grab some wins and build some confidence. And, we don't want to shy away from playing good teams, but also when you're building, you want to get teams that maybe are also kind of in the similar spot. And so it is that balance of challenging yourself. We've got, we'll go play at Vanderbilt. We've got some good teams on our schedule, and then we've got, just solid mid-major teams on our schedule. Or hopefully, it is a chance, like you said, to really compete and grow and grab some wins, but still prepare us for MVC play. Because, as soon as you hit MVC play, that competition, the physicality, it ratchets up a really big notch, and we want to be prepared for that. So, I think we've put together a nice schedule that's going to have that balance for us this year.
Robyn, if your team reflects anything around your energy, your passion, your readiness, you're going to have a great year, and we wish you well. And thank you so much for being with us on the preview show.
Thanks, Debbie. Always fun chatting with you, especially about offense.
Maggie Hartwig, 6'1" sophomore at the University of Evansville. Thanks for being on the preview show, Maggie.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, tell us about your health. Are you feeling good? You ready to go? Or have you been able to work on your skill set over the summer? Give us a breakdown.
Yeah, so obviously last season I ended with a foot injury, which was a little setback going into postseason, but I worked hard this summer, did what I could to get healthy, and I'm back for good now.
What is your role around 6 new freshmen that are trying to learn college and Robyn's system?
Yeah, I think my biggest role right now is just being a good influence on them and setting a good example. Being there for them on the court, off the court, just being a good friend and teammate.
Well, Maggie, I would believe that you're doing that 100% of your capacity. Now, tell me how you have added to your skill set and what we expect to see in this high-octane offense.
Yeah, so I've worked a lot on quicker release on my shot, and then also just getting more comfortable with the ball inside and out. I had the freshman jitters last year at some points in the season, and I really want to be more comfortable in handling the ball with all the pressure that I know will come at me in the MVC.
Oh, yeah, you're going to get the top defender most nights. You're at the top of the scouting report. You're the returning double-figure scorer. How do you handle and manage some of that when you know that every night you're going to be a target for other teams' defense?
Yeah, I think the biggest part is just knowing that I can rely on my teammates to be there when I need a kick out or whatever it is that the situation entails. I can, with this team especially, I know I can rely on my teammates to be there for me and to be able to score when I can't. Yeah.
Well, scoring is what we like to talk about on the Missouri Valley Preview Show, and I know Coach Wells cares about that as well. In the summer, concepts, closeouts, pace, these seem to be all part of your vernacular every day. Tell us a little bit about what it's like in practice when you're trying to play with this kind of pace.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just like going 100% all the time, which we have no problem doing. Our effort is always constantly there, and it's just, working on those tiny little details so that it becomes more natural and gets the flow of the game going for games.
So you are a two-sport athlete in high school. You played volleyball as well as basketball. Tell me why playing two sports has enabled you to be such a good athlete.
I think just being on the court as much as possible, and with playing volleyball as well as basketball, I developed a different kind of skill set and athleticism that some volleyball aspects you don't always practice in basketball, and so I think being able to have a well-rounded skill set has definitely improved on my basketball abilities.
Do you think the training to prepare to be a volleyball player and the training that comes with, I'm talking like strength and conditioning that comes with a basketball player, do you think they're similar or completely different?
I think there are similarities to it, but obviously there's different focal points. Basketball, you're running a lot. So you don't do as much running in volleyball, but then volleyball focuses more on like the jumping and the plyometrics and stuff like that. So there's definitely similarities, but lots of differences as well.
Yeah, that's what makes you so well-rounded in your game. And besides the foot injury, you're overall healthy. Tell me a little bit about the influence of your parents. I know they both were Division I athletes. Tell me a little bit about what it was like growing up in a household with two D1 athletes.
Yeah, it was fun. My parents were super into every sport I did. It didn't matter if it was basketball or volleyball, and they were always so supportive for me, driving me to games and always feeding me and stuff. And my dad especially, he was constantly getting me in the gym, getting me working on basketball. 1v1ing him has helped a lot. And got a 6'6" big guy in the paint, so playing against him just made it easier in games. And he really did have a big impact on where I am today, as well as my mom, of course.
Well, when you're 6'1" and you're going against a 6'6" dad who's got some size and length, how important it was learning the proper footwork to be able to score?
Yeah, I mean, getting around him was difficult, especially like kind of getting my body into him to work to finish around him and stuff. So I think that has a big thing to do with why my skill set transfers over into what I do here on the court.
Well, Maggie, we're not far from the opening of the season, and I know it's going to be a fun season in Evansville based on the way that you guys are going to play. What are you most looking forward to this year?
I'm just looking forward to play with my teammates and win some games.
All right, that's Maggie Hartwig. Thank you so much, Maggie, for being with us on the preview show. Maggie, the sophomore at the University of Evansville. Keep your eye on her. Tené Smith's going to be running this high-octane attack for the University of Evansville. Tené, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
5'6" baller, ready to go. You're going to take a more prominent role this year, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
I'm hoping to. I'm coming back from an injury, just working on getting healthy, but I'm really excited to take that leadership role. When I do get back, I feel like we have really good point guards in the making, but we're young, and I'm young too, so I feel like we're going to be in a position to all learn from each other and just be ready to push.
To me, what makes a really good point guard is a point guard who can answer what I call the 3 W's: who to get the ball to, when, and where. You got a lot of new personnel to learn. How's it going?
It's going well. I think being on the court is a good place to learn, but also being on the sideline is an even better place to learn, because I'm able to see all of my teammates and my peers from a different viewpoint. So I'm really able to see who's what, when are they most successful, and where would I get them the ball if I was on the court.
Well, you'd get a grade A from me if you can answer all those questions, because I think that's so important, especially when you're playing in the concepts with the pace that Coach Robyn wants you guys to play in. How is all that being managed on a day-to-day basis for you?
For me, I think because I was a part of her system last year, I feel like I haven't really lost the knack of what she's looking for. But I feel like in practice, she's very particular with the type of pace that she wants. And I would say almost every single drill we do goes back to that. So I'm not like doubtful, or I'm not nervous that that same pace isn't going to be carried over into the season just because a few people are not on the court. Like, I trust that we're going to deliver.
Tené, competing and winning can be two separate concepts, right? And for you guys, I know you're going to compete. What's going to be the difference this year and being able to close out some of those games that were really close that you lost last year?
I think just mental fortitude. I think being able to listen to coach and then go on the court and translate. I think sometimes because we were really young last year and we're going to be young this year, we get like caught up in the moment. But if we can take age and experience out of it and just remember, like, we're basketball players, we've done this before, we can do it again, then we're going to be able to close those games out 100%.
That is great advice. And I'm going to hope you're going to rewind the tape in January and give yourself that same advice when the season kicks in full gear for the Valley. Now, you've had 1 year experience in the Valley. What do you love about playing in the Missouri Valley?
I love that there's little point guards like me, and then there's bigs like my bigs. Like, it makes it nice to go out and play someone like my height. I just like it. It'd be fine if they were 6'2", but I enjoy it.
Okay, so you bring up your size. You're not a big point guard. You're small, but you're quick, you're smart, you're competitive. What makes it so much fun to be smaller when people see you coming and they don't think you're on the basketball team? They think that you're running track or doing something different, like playing tennis or swimming or something that doesn't require size.
Right. I just get to be a surprise. Like, you don't know what I bring to the table because I'm so small. Like, I could be a shooter, I could be a slasher, I could be a great defender, I could be a great passer. I could be all of it if I choose to. So I just get to show you.
I can see pure happiness and joy in the way you play, and I certainly can hear it in your voice. Why?
I love basketball, and my love for basketball isn't just rooted in my success. It goes all the way back to family. So my dad, he's the one who introduced me to the game. He's the guy that loves basketball the most. I don't know if there's anyone on this planet who loves basketball more than him. Oh, you? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. There's a possibility. But so it makes me happy to be successful, and then it also makes me happy to know that I'm making him happy just by doing my best. So.
Well, Tené Smith, we're looking forward to watching you. And I know that it'll be tough to keep an eye on you because you are typically a blur up the floor. And in this pace that Evansville likes to play, it's going to feature your entire skill set. Thanks for being with us on the preview show.
Thank you for having me.